You drive there, you go into the airplane, it sits on the runway, same sludge around you, gray skies on top. Then you finally take off, you go through the clouds and you see that the sky is blue. And you already forgot about that. It's fine. So you fly, then you land in Cyprus and the sky is blue, sun is shining. You take a car and you drive through the highway, and at the time all the flowers in the highway in the midsection are blossoming. And that was my thought, like, what am I exactly doing there, especially at this time of the year? And I couldn't find an answer. Now there's a lot of people who can't stand like the political temperature, not the climate one. People who move there just because they want to be a part of a wider world and not a part of, it's a dictatorship now indeed. He didn't invent anything new. He just used the same old playbook.
The word startup in Wikipedia, at least 5 years, I think 5-6 years ago, there wasn't a proper definition.
If you tell a VC investor that you want to develop this company forever, that's the end of the conversation right here, right now. Speaking about myself, it's a team, first of all. And in team, I take a look at two things, like how are they relevant to what they try to build? And do they cover all the key resources that they need to build it at this stage? Or if they don't, do they have a plan how to acquire those resources?
Is that startup funding and gambling with spreadsheets and pitches?
No. It's actually, it's gambling with people. True. I would say, because
that's a good one. I will steal it from you.
Yeah.
Just this kind of couple of years now, the solo founder concept became viable with proliferation of AI. So now investors think that, okay, we can invest in solo founders if that people demonstrate how they do all the kind of front and back end of the company without co-founders. If we speak about Cyprus, like, a Cyprus domestic startup is impossible, like literally impossible. Because research says that you have to have for yourself a market of about 50 million people to be able to grow significantly domestically.
Actually, Cyprus is good to test specific stuff, not all the industries. For example, something that we are not pushing is the travel startup. You have 5 million users every summer.
The pitching effectively is a combination of persuasion and negotiation. There's a saying in the industry that a good team will save a bad idea, but a bad team will kill a brilliant one. Most of those funds are not evergreen. Most of those funds are time limited. Typical time limit is 10 years.
Okay.
So you have 4 years to invest, 4 years to divest, 2 years to adjust for market trends, that and that, can have some extensions. So this is the time limit for VCs to operate. To be a $1 billion company, you have to have annual recurring revenues of about 100 million. I can't see and process everything anyway. That's technically impossible. Maybe someday with AI, we don't need angels or VCs any longer, One AI will be pitching to the other. Networking is a very big part of what investors bring. Right. We put them in touch with stakeholders they would not be able to get in touch with. Again, minimum could be as small as 10.
All right.
Like 10,000. Maximum what we do is several 100,000. Like 300,000 to 500,000, I think.
Another episode of Beautiful Minds. I have the pleasure today to have two amazing guys. We have, first of all, our national network king, Panis Pieri.
I'm a startup journalist. Let's keep it there. All other stuff that come.
No, that's fair, Panis.
And also Andrey Kostyuk, if I am saying right.
Perfect.
Right. And our episode is gonna be about startups.
Yes.
And let's call it, I don't know if I have the copyrights for, I have the copyrights, which I'm going to add a thing at the end, startup for dummies in Cyprus. Or
Fine.
The limits
It's not only
narrow,
Cyprus.
only Cyprus.
You know, the rules of the
I'm going to
startup
get
game.
the copyrights, man. It's just for the copyrights. Then we're going to discuss about everything else.
Actually, I don't know if the series for dummies, I don't know if they have a book. I don't think they have.
For startups?
Yeah, they don't have startups.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
But the rules of the game are pretty much the same.
Yeah. Andrey, can you tell us about you? What is your education? Why you are here? How it happens to be in Cyprus?
Sure. I'm a startup investor, a startup mentor, and academic researcher of startup mentoring. This is who I am. How I get there? It was kind of a long and winding road. I'm an entrepreneur. I was entrepreneurial all my life. The last time I worked for hire was in 1992. So you can guess how old I am already. So I tried a very different path of being entrepreneurial. We tried to do many things, from brokering interbank loans to being like running a car dealership. But ultimately, when I graduated in 96 with my master's in accounting and audit, I did two things after that. In 98, I joined my PhD program. Back in the day, I was very interested in taxation, so I joined this one, and I launched what would be called now a FinTech. Back in the day, it was just a bank.
Okay.
So we launched this bank with my partners.
That's why you call yourself a banker.
Yes.
You didn't work in a bank, you own the bank.
No, yeah, correct. Yes. And we launched it right after the huge crisis in Russia in 98. 98, yes. I think people may still remember that, when Russia defaulted on its debt, and we had a very interesting time back in the day. Initially, I thought that was the end of the story, like we need just to take an eraser and kind of remove Russia from the map. It was really as bad. But after a couple of months, it was clear that it started growing back. So we invested, we acquired an existing banking institution and started this journey. And I spent 15 years on this journey. And after 2 attempts on these 15 years, I exited this FinTech in 2013 and had quite a lot of free time on my hands. Okay, what do I do next?
If you have money and time, it's a very dangerous combination.
It's a very dangerous combination, it's, that's true. And besides, I launched, when I was still running a bank, I launched an alternative investment fund here in Cyprus, which was operational until 2020, but it's a different story. It was initially a fund under the central bank. Then there was the switch under CySec, so I spent a fair amount of time for realizing.
We're going to go through this and you're going to explain us.
Yeah.
So when did you start Alchemy?
Yeah, that's what I'm coming to. Is connection to Cyprus. So yes, in 2007 I established a fund here, and I was working here since 2000. That's another funny story.
Why Cyprus?
Why Cyprus? Okay, let's step back.
All right.
Back in 2000 or 2001, I attended a conference in Riga, in Latvia, devoted to finance. And there I met my future friend. I didn't know that back in the day, Alex, who was a representative of international banking unit of Alpha Bank back in the day.
All right.
So we met, we spoke, kicked off, and I had to go back to Moscow the same day by train because my visa was expiring. Normally, I used to fly, which is impossible today. Probably we'll discuss why. But, I took a train, and there was a carriage, and it was initially just me. Okay, so I am sitting there, and then Alex appears. He who should be going to Moscow in a different compartment, but he joined mine. And we had a great conversation, like for a few hours before we went to sleep. So kind of we befriended. And then when we needed to find a place to do international business, I kind of called him, and that's how it started here in Cyprus. And why Cyprus? It's because...
let me do a joke. Usually the business started with a good meal and whiskey and cigar. You started the business in a train.
Yes, this is in the carriage, yes.
Yeah, actually, you have plenty time in the carriage to discuss.
Yeah, you're locked in, so yes, you have to do something meaningful, yeah. That's true.
All right.
So we needed to find a place to kind of have our international operations, and with the ancestry of the Commonwealth, of the UK, of the legal system, of the common law, the tax system, which is very beneficial, as we all know. So that was kind of an easy choice to do that. And that's how it all started. So it was initially like a corporate business, general companies, then the fund, and it kind of one thing led to another.
How do you describe Russian people that they are moving to Cyprus? They have a specific profile, or you don't see a pattern anywhere?
I think the pattern changed 3 years ago for a very clear reason. Before that, people who used to come here, they were more of a climate immigrants. You know?
Right.
That was the same thing I told myself.
Sea and sun, let's say.
Yes, I was moving. I moved from Moscow back in 2008. I really didn't like the direction countries started to take. But the initial consideration was the climate. I had my fair share of those winters. And it was also Cyprus, kind of which switched my attitude finally. It happened like that. It was, I think, February, end of February, which is a very difficult month in Russia, in Moscow specifically, because winter starts. Now it's a little bit better because of global warming. Back in the day, winter used to start end of October, beginning of November, and winter is like that. It's cold, it's muddy, because you kind of melt all this snow and it becomes a sludge. And gray skies all the time. So you can live like a month without seeing the sun or something.
Yeah. Even my father-in-law are living in Munich, Germany. Even the thought that you have to wake up in the morning and you have to clean the car from the snow to spend like 15 minutes and then go back, and again the same thing to go back. It's a process. Yeah,
long story short, it was like I was driving to the airport, and through this sludge, when you feel more like a boat than a car. So you drive there, you go into the airplane, it sits on the runway, same sludge around you, gray skies on top. Then you finally take off, you go through the clouds, and you see that the sky is blue, and you already forgot about that. It's fine. So you fly, then you land in Cyprus, and the sky is blue, sun is shining. You take a car and you drive through the highway, and in that time, all the flowers in the highway in the midsection are blossoming.
And during July and August, that you cannot live in Cyprus, the airport is next by, you can take a plane and go anywhere else.
Yeah. I actually can, but my family can't normally, but now I kind of train them a little. They're here now. And that was my thought, like, what am I exactly doing there, especially at this time of the year? And I couldn't find an answer. That was kind of...
So about the profile, we discussed.
Yeah, so it was from initially
3
people
years
used
ago,
to
you
go
said
for
about sea and sun. Now?
Yes, sea and sun. Now there's a lot of people who can't stand like the political temperature, not the climate one. People who move that just because they want to be a part of a wider world and not a part of, it's a dictatorship now indeed. So they just, yes.
You have this opinion. I like it.
Yeah, they don't want to stay inside within these borders because it's difficult for a free-minded person. No, it corrupts you.
All right. We're going to touch a little bit about the Ukraine thing, and we're going to move on. Because obviously we have Israelis and Ukrainian people coming to Cyprus for anyway, but you see a lot of investors and a lot of people that they have their startups here, all their existing companies. What do you believe? There are three scenarios, let's say. The one scenario was that people from Ukraine, they wanted anyway to be attached in Russia. The other scenario that Putin wanted all the resources from these areas. And the third reason where it is on the table is that because of NATO, that they didn't want them to come closer to them, which for me is just an excuse. It's the excuse. What do you believe? Because I'm guessing, I don't know.
I have a kind of firm opinion about that.
Another one?
It's a combination of three probably, yes. But I think this is a very feudal thing which happened. So Putin came here, I think, on a kind of a wicked time machine. If you consider if he was the ruler of Russia 400 years ago, even 200 years ago, he would be in his place.
All right.
Because that kind of behavior is very medieval. Because he has ideas which are centered and focused on, not on people. He sees them not as citizens, but as subjects, which is like, it's a very big difference if you think about that. And he has this idea that he has to restore Russia greatness in terms of territory and kind of getting back what belongs to Russia, effectively to him. It's a very feudal war, and based on his perception of not being, it's kind of his hurt feelings that they didn't respect him enough.
Right, but if I don't ask this question, they're going to have comments below that. Sure. Usually they're saying in Russia there are two parts, the friends of Putin and the other ones. If you are in the other side, of course you're going to blame Putin. Or you are like an independent in the center and you have your own opinion. You understand my question, yes?
I think so. And this is his war. He owns it completely. He corrupted Russian people really with the propaganda which he did, and he knew the power of media from the day one, because a person like him, a lieutenant colonel in security services, nothing special about this guy, will never become a prime minister or president of a country, not even Russia, Luxembourg. without media support. So he understood the power of media.
But the game is the same everywhere. Yeah. It's the same.
True, the caliber of the guys is different, and do
you see similarities in another country next to us? Turkey, the same thing.
True. No, he didn't invent anything new. He just used the same old playbook. And I was really, wondering why he is speaking so much about evil Ukrainians since like 2012, I think, even before the Crimea was captured. He was prepping people for war. Right. He was building this image of an enemy out of people who are
But what is the main reason? Except of the fact that he wanted to stay in this position. We understand.
He is corrupted with unchecked power. Right. So he behaved like a king.
So this is the main reason for you, yes?
Exactly.
Resources is not on the table.
Come on. Russia has so many resources, it doesn't need anything else.
Okay, it's like, how you call it, rumor that the specific areas, they have these specific resources about batteries of the cars.
It's a positive externality.
Okay.
He doesn't care about specific resources. Right, he believes that Ukraine is his for taking.
Okay,
because it's part of Russian Empire. Whatever Ukraine has is his.
All right, understand. Okay, let's start the main reason you are here.
Yeah.
Can you identify what is startups, first of all? Because from my mind, it's confused. I'm confused about that.
And you should be.
Yes. Startup. From my point of view, startup must be a company that starts now and has a specific, let's say, in a period of 2 or 3 years. Then it's not a startup. And I don't believe that we have to attach anything else apart of that. This is what I have in my mind. What do you believe and identify that?
I understand why you think so. And it's true to a point, but not exactly. So for me, the main difference between a startup and a classic business, like new business, so when we establish a company, how like in small and media or now small enterprise, different from a startup, it's the ultimate strategic goal that they have. Because typical business is about profit. Startups are about growth. That means that typical business is about dividend income. So kind of you run it, you pass it to your children, you earn money, get your dividend, live nicely. Startups are different. They build fast for the goal to be acquired.
All right.
And this distinction kind of, it's then everything else comes for me out of this distinction, who you are.
Okay. It makes sense. Then there is another way of describing startups. You have to attach the word technology. Otherwise, it's not a startup.
No,
that's wrong. That's wrong. You might
have... I'm just playing the dumb. I'm the dumb.
The other element of the startup is that you need to have something innovative. It doesn't mean... usually 99% it comes with a tech-enabled innovation. I call it tech-enabled innovation.
All right.
So that technology helps you, but startup can be even Airbnb. I mean, the only technology that Airbnb has, he just built an app. But the innovation of Airbnb was that you will be able to offer your own house to rent it. That was not something to do with technical. The tech was we just built an app. A website to offer
the tech is a vehicle to the idea.
Yeah, but the innovation was giving your own property or your own couch surfing, for example, the website.
I understand.
Giving your own couch,
clear,
rent it.
You said something about acquire. It means that the acquire has to be in a point that it has to be sold, or no?
Exit strategies are a few.
All right.
Yeah.
One of them is what they call, the worst one is what called acqui-hire, when you're not so successful and a bigger rival or a technology company or whoever just acquires the company, getting the team. Then there's what they call a trade sale or M&A in the classic world. When you sell your company to a competitor or to somebody who is alongside you doing something similar and can use your offering to expand their services. So that's a trade sale. The priced exit, which everybody thinks about in the States, it's not happening often in Europe. It's obviously an IPO. So when you can kind of bring your company from the very beginning, when you're kind of a solo founder or a small founding team, to being listed on the stock exchange, that's an ultimate winning thing.
All right. So let it put it in other words. You describe startups as a company that start now and they will be eventually fast, scalable.
It should be able to scale fast. And the aim of the founders is to sell the company, not to keep it and pass it to their children. It's actually very important because it implies different kind of investors, completely different kind of investors. Because if you tell a VC investor that you want to develop this company forever, that's the end of the conversation right here, right now.
Understand.
Just to know the word startup in Wikipedia, at least 5 years, I think 5-6 years ago, there wasn't a proper definition.
Yeah, as usual.
Even Wikipedia did not have. And now, I mean, the last 5-6 years, Wikipedia has a proper definition of what the startup is. Sometimes because I talk with a lot of companies that they think that they are a startup, but most of the times when I talk to them, my first question was, did you have any interaction with investors? And they say, no, I will build a company on my own. And that's fine.
To be honest, I didn't know that the startups has to be, at the end of the day, with an exit plan. I mean, that's compulsory.
That's a must.
All right.
That's simply a must.
Yeah, and the other, let's say, it's compulsory. It's that you have interaction with investors, with people that they will put money in your business. That's another. But they also, one of the most important, as Andrey said, and I want to give emphasis, is that you need to have a high growth. You grow very fast. So, for example, every month you might be growing like 1,000%. if that's your users, if that's your, I mean, you need to have a high growth to be actually called for at least
No,
us.
that's
I
to be
mean,
called successful startup.
okay, yeah, okay.
All right. I
That's
understand
another-
that your company is venture capital, okay?
We are a business angel network. That's also a different thing.
Okay. Can you explain us the startup accelerator, the angel network, and the venture capital fund?
Sure.
What's the difference between all these three? And if there is more, add on the conversation.
Of course.
Lots of lingo for the start.
First of all, the difference between business angels and venture capitalists is the stage when they invest. And that's have a very also like a distinct definition. So angels invest before revenue mostly. Or they can invest when companies making revenues. It's not prohibited. But the idea is that venture capitalists still need, okay, most of them, they need kind of hard data to put a valuation on the company, to understand how much this company costs and if it makes sense or not. So to have numbers, they need to have sales.
Understand.
But company has to grow to that stage somehow. You can't have sales on day one. That's how they raise money initially. First, this is the famous 3F round, family, friends, and fools. Some of those fools can be early stage angels who invest. Not in the idea, by the way. That's also a wrong impression. We invest in the team. Again, speaking about myself, it's a team, first of all. And in team, I take a look at two things, like how are they relevant to what they try to build? And do they cover all the key resources that they need to build it at this stage? Or if they don't, do they have a plan how to acquire those resources? That's how we start. We start without revenues. And the first angel round is used to get to the point when you build your MVP, minimum viable product, and start your test proof of concepts. So VCs will appear after like a couple of rounds.
Actually, yeah, just to add that angel investors are more risky. They
I
invest,
understand. It's clear.
It's more.
But now my next question is going to be, why you going to invest in an early stage company instead of the proven, let's say, more proven business with hard data?
To successfully do angel investing, you have to have a very specific skill set.
All right.
And that is counterintuitive in terms of finance. I retrained myself. Again, I'm coming from banking and investment fund, right? You would say that I am very well prepared. And I was reasonably well prepared, but not enough. Because this game, the way it's played, is kind of a little bit put it on its head compared to classical finance. So you need to understand how that works, what you look for. If you can't look for hard KPIs, what are the soft ones, like what you need to pay attention to, how to evaluate that. Why do you do this? It's, okay, so let's play devil advocate. So that means it's risky. If you don't have this capacity, most probably you will be losing your money and you will become disheartened and leave this game.
All right.
Not because angel investment is wrong, but because it's inherently risky. And if you operate without proper knowledge, network, understanding on a risky side of a risky business, that's not a very attractive proposition.
Okay.
To be successful angel, you need to be able to de-risk it within the still risky investment.
Is that startup funding and gambling with spreadsheets and pitches?
No. It's actually it's in gambling with people. True. I would say, because
that's a good one. I will steal it from you.
Yeah, because especially if you're an angel investor and you invest, you don't have numbers. You just have the people, the team in front of you, and you need to evaluate if this team will make it or not. Because probably then one of the 2-3 major reasons that startups fail, and a lot of them fail, like 9 out of 10, is the team. Something will happen, they will fight at any given time, and some other 2-3 reasons. Andrey can tell about the other reasons.
I heard that about that 9 out of 10. It's the same ratio in every country, or the country
it's global.
different?
It's global.
It's quite global, but that's also have some tiers to that.
Yeah.
When we speak about professional investing, your results are better normally than this. If we speak about general crowd investing in startups, that would be something like that.
Okay, is that exit just a dream that the investor sells to the founders?
No, that's a must. That's a must. Again, if you want to be a startup and you want to work with startup investors, there's no way around exit. You have to exit and return money to your investors. They don't expect dividends. They don't expect to be your greatest friends until the grave. No.
Okay, now you're getting me to the loophole, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because let's say we have a founder with a great idea, and you have, let's say, even an angel or a venture capital, okay, that they invest to these guys in order to exit and make more money. Yes?
And
right?
Not exactly, because we all have like thousands of ideas every day. We don't invest in ideas. We invest in people.
I understand it. Okay, let's say we invest in this,
to do it.
And then you have to sell it to some other venture or yes.
In a sense, it's passing hot potato forward.
Yes. Who is going to eventually get that idea and work for it? If it's going to be every time exit.
No, it's not exiting for the founders. Founders, they stay.
Okay, I understand.
And they work.
But the next investor that they're going to buy, they want to do exit as well, yes?
Yes.
There is an exit also. There is the IPO that you go public. That's another type of exit.
Even if we speak
when
about...
you go public, it's a public company.
That's the best one, yes.
Yeah.
If we speak about stages, it's kind of, again, it's quite established process. So, business angels invest.
All right.
Grow the company. Many of companies in their portfolios die. If not 9 out of 10, again. If you manage to do like 6 out of 10, you are exceptional. So many of them die because of a very clear thing. Even if you guessed everything right at day one, so you see the team, the market, go-to-market strategy is fine. You will stay with them before the VC round for 2 years, let's say. And since the day 2, it's world around you started to change. Everything changes. So the company can become obsolete because of the market change, not because of anything else. Or founders don't work together well, or you made a mistake evaluating the founders, whatever. So when you come to the point when this company have enough revenues to interest VCs, then VCs come into play and invest in something which was de-risked for them.
Right.
It's already something that operates. That's when angel can exit, actually. That happens, and that's normally what they call secondary round, when VCs invest in the company, and on the side they buy some stock from the angels at a discounted price. It works nicely for both parties. So angels can have a full or partial exit with nice multiple, and they kind of lower down the average price of their investment immediately. And if they lower down the price, they already kind of made some money compared to the round valuation. And then VCs go forward and the same game is played. So the later stage VCs, which could kind of offer the same solution. Private equity can come in, and private equity normally buys everybody out because they play a different game. So this is effectively a very efficient pipeline. Right. Of this company moving forward.
So it's not a loophole, it's a pipeline that you explain us very well.
It's
now.
A pipeline.
Right.
Also, there is VCs that they can grow the company to 100 million valuation, and then they will sell it to bigger.
Of course.
Fish. I mean, there is VCs that they focus on growing, specific elements. I want to add here also something else almost, because sometimes, it's a story that I heard from one of the first employees, one of the major accelerators in the world. He put 50K in Twitter. Actually, that investment was like, they call it like, okay, we have some money, let's throw it. They didn't believe. And actually, he became millionaire, not out of the other more promising, let's say, angel investment he did, but he became a millionaire and he made his money by Twitter. That was then.
All right, let's go to the other side of the founder. Okay, we have a founder with an idea, with all the elements you need, and then there is an investor. They go and give them money, the support, they support on the acceleration. What's the main thing that guy has to change in his mindset from the garage guy to a CEO, let's say?
Yeah, that's...
Or is nothing? You have to be like this
That's
at the
also
beginning.
a good question, and let's unwrap it a little, because you said founder, and that's actually important. I didn't say founders. Just this kind of couple of years now, the solo founder concept became viable with proliferation of AI. So now investors think that, okay, we can invest in solo founders if that people demonstrate how they do all the kind of front and back end of the company without co-founders. Normally it was like 3 people team, 3 people, 4 people, 2 people is not very good.
Typically it's 2. It's like
it could
Apple, Facebook.
It used to be like that, but it's also important that you have a main founder and a co-founder.
Yes.
If it's 50-50, it's a very difficult situation. You need to immediately introduce a lot of instruments, how to break the deadlock, which are good for corporate world, not really nice for startups.
Actually, just to clarify, everybody thinks that Amazon and Apple is 2, but actually they're not 2.
Of course.
They are like 4, but the other 2, they are these people that they have like some minor stuff. They were helping in the
Steve
team,
Jobs and
but no, there was also another 2 people that
Okay.
they were doing work, but they were not so famous. After you see the famous stuff, then garage thing is something that Silicon Valley projected after.
Don't change the story, the ideal story of somebody who wants.
Yeah, well, let's say some truth. I mean,
If in that garage I would meet Wozniak, not Jobs, I would not invest. And for a very particular reason. You can't be everybody. You can't combine all those personalities in yourselves. And you need to have somebody with a big, bold vision who can execute. So, answering your question, then when I speak with this person, I need to see the mentality. And this mentality they should be open-minded and they should pursue growth mindset.
Right.
If we speak about Cyprus, a Cyprus domestic startup is impossible, like literally impossible. Because research says that you have to have for yourself a market of about 50 million people to be able to grow significantly domestically. So if you consider Europe, you will find just a few countries like that. It's Germany, UK Turkey, that left us. Yeah. Okay, Turkey if you consider European.
We are in Eurovision.
Yes.
Okay, so they are in Euroleague.
True, of course. Then Germany, France, maybe Italy, it's on the brink, and again Spain combined with Portugal. That's it. And that's the reason why Estonians are so good. I don't know if they still have this title of having the highest number of unicorns per capita. Maybe it's
why is that? I didn't know that.
Because they had a very good governmental policies,
pushing them
growth-oriented, that enabled businesses to operate efficiently. And they understood first of the small countries, I think, that they could play startup game like for export.
Okay, that's
operating from Estonia.
That's the stupidness of our, let's say, country. I'm not going to go to the government because they don't go and check the good examples and copy them and do the same thing here.
Okay, you have...
Now we come to the second reason that startups fail. That's a lot of startups from Cyprus or even Greece or even globally, they target small markets. True. They solving a problem for a very small market of that market is like 50 million globally.
I'm the dumb here and I get it. So you don't invest in countries less than 50 million. It's like a playbook.
And that's why also...
Bam.
You start in Cyprus. It's a great sandbox.
Yeah, but you have to focus on
You expand to Greece. Fine. but it's not the limit of your ambitions. It's just a first step. And you have beautiful example, 40 minutes flight to Israel. Do they have any Israeli startup which is focused on Israel?
No.
Of course.
No.
That's why they focus in
Wix,
US.
for example.
That's why they work with
Yes.
US. That's why a lot of also, when I was in Ukraine mentoring 5 years ago, a lot of startups, everybody, they had either a Estonian entity or a Delaware entity, US, and they were operating their apps and everything. They were operating in US. Actually, there is statistics that around 40% of the startups are built in Ukraine or Russia for Silicon Valley. I mean, instead of technical and building capabilities.
If you go back to that distinction between small businesses and startups, it's the same story. You can be a viable small or medium business in Cyprus, no problem about it. But you will be a small and medium business focused on extracting revenues, extracting profits, distributing dividends.
For me, it's okay. Even that is okay.
For
it
sure.
depends what do you want to do, because
Of course, no,
we have
equally viable.
these let's say guys who say, if it's not scalable, it doesn't worth to invest. I mean, to start and focus on this business. It's about mentality. It's about what do you want in your life, how complicated you want to be, and so on.
For sure.
What about people that they are saying that they want to start their idea and test it in Cyprus and then expand it?
Very good.
It's okay.
Completely support them. But in my opinion, if you start on a home turf when you know everything and test how it works, that's like perfectly understandable and right approach. Could be different, but still you need to remember that other markets are different.
Yeah,
you can't just take your Cypriot model and go with that to Finland. No, you'll have to adjust.
When a startup decides the beach market, actually, if your beach market is UK, at one point you might test in Cyprus, in some things in Cyprus, because you need to do smaller tests. But at one point you need to get the first MVP, and you need to get it in UK to test it. And test it in a city of UK or in a, this is also in US what is happening. People that are testing stuff, they grow in a state, and then they go to Shark Tank, they go to get money or to investors to expand in all the states of US. At the end, and actually Cyprus is good to test specific stuff, not all the industries. For example, something that we are not pushing is the travel startups. We have 5 million users every summer. It's a good testing to test these 5 million people that are coming. And we don't have so many travel startups in Cyprus that actually, and we have also a lot of problems.
That's something I can't understand.
That we need to solve. And actually, even not our government is focused. Okay, in the government, they used to have a section that was going only to travel startups, but now that section, in terms of funding, went under the digital startups. So if you are a digital startup in any industry, you can go there.
Now I'm going to go in another area. How important is the emotional intelligence in a pitching? So do you going to get it in his advantage, or it's going to be a disadvantage of a founder? Founders, whatever is that.
When I'm speaking with my mentees or my companies about pitching, I'm always telling them the same thing. Like, pitching, yes, it's a technical competence which you can train, how to behave at a large audience, like how to present your case, like even where to put your hands, which I'm still struggling with. This is technical stuff, but it's just a surface layer. The pitching effectively is a combination of persuasion and negotiation. And this is how you should look at this through these lenses. And third thing, this should follow a storyline. And there is, again, what a Freytag pyramid, other approaches, how you build a storyline, because it's a storytelling. You base your persuasion in storytelling, which is engaging and convincing. And this is very well researched how to do that. And as an analogy, I tell them, like, consider that you're preparing a script for a series, not even for a movie. This is your season 1. which will culminate with
That's
you
amazing analogy.
raising your family,
Amazing analogy.
reaching your like milestones, and then season 2 begins, and you will be doing another.
How far do you want the script to be? Is you're okay with series? The series 1?
You need to.
It
It's
a lot of times it depends. Into this series, there is different. You go into different, because I help also people to pitch. You go into different type of pitching, first of all.
Oh yes.
And where you are.
Oh,
if
yes.
you are going to be in front of 500 people, if this pitching would be in front of 2 people.
For me, it's a public speaking. It doesn't matter if it's 2 or if it's 5,000. It's the same strategy, the same patterns, the same things.
Number may be not relevant.
After, and that's what I'm saying.
Target audience is very relevant.
Yeah, it's okay. A different thing.
One size doesn't fit all in that.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah,
different. What you're saying, it's different. The size is irrelevant for me.
In public speaking, okay, you might ask Andrey, you might learn, how body language, how to operate and things like this. But when you go to a meeting with an investor that will invest 1, 2, 3
Andrey
million.
said 2 important words. 2 important words.
Audience,
that is
yeah.
No. Your storytelling and analogy.
Yeah, okay.
This is the two main words you use in a public speaking. So it's the same thing in if you use storytelling and analogies in everything you do, it's public speaking, and it's for a specific reason, for the specific target. Then you're gonna adjust it.
Yes, but if you combine storytelling, especially if you are investors that they will need data. If you need to combine that storytelling with data.
Yeah, I understand it. Yeah, I'm not saying the opposite, but I'm saying the size is irrelevant for me.
No, data is part of the story for sure.
Yeah.
It's for sure like that.
It's a brilliant founder can destroy his own idea because he's refusing to adjust and adapt in the new environment.
Of course. That's why we invest in people, because there's a saying in the industry that a good team will save a bad idea, but a bad team will kill a brilliant one. And if you refuse, there's a fine line between persistence and stubbornness. You can find yourself on the wrong side anytime. But that's also a conversation with my mentees, for example, when I tell them, okay, guys, I'm telling you something. We have this discussion. I'm not supposed maybe to give you my strong opinions, but I can give you a scenario variance, telling how it was in the past and what is some of the best ways to move forward. So if you want to disagree with me, it's perfectly fine. First of all, this is your business. Second, you know it better than me. I'm about the big picture, you're about a deep picture of your own business. What I expect from you is to take it as a serious data point, analyze it, and come back and explain to me why you disagree. Yeah. Then it's completely fine. If you just tell me that, no, I know better, okay? You
back up your opinion at the end of the day.
You do it at your peril.
Back up your opinion while you're saying that, yes.
And another thing that we do with our early stage companies, how we start with developing a product, explaining product market fit, and go to market strategy using service design and design thinking approach. That's what many of them lack, and that's why many of them fail, because they extrapolate their personal experiences into a common problem. Right. It can well be that it's your own personal problem. And if you build your product on your personal problem, again, you do it at your peril. I have another funny story from back in the day.
But sometimes your personal problem might be
a
personal problem for everybody,
yes.
but you will find it through the process.
Exactly.
and then listen your potential customers.
My friend back in the 90s, he decided to there was a very good business to sell food in Russia because we didn't have anything. Well, a lot of different stuff were missing after the USSR days. So people started bringing food, making money. So he bought a truck of some sausage or whatever and had a very difficult time selling that food. And he told me then, when finally sold it, even made money because of currency rates change. And he told me, I found 2 things. First, because of this issue with the currency, because I understood that finance is a very interesting world. But most importantly, what I understood, that he should buy or should have bought sausage that people loved, not him.
All right. You know,
And I'm bringing that message through my life.
There is an expression in Germany about sausage. You know that?
Maybe not.
Everything in this life has an end, except sausage. That has two.
Just to add another thing, I think it's founders, the successful founders that they will succeed, etc. Usually are people that they are coachable. They have their own process they have their own process. It doesn't mean that they need to hear, maybe that process is reading an article and then get 5 things. For me, at least, it's not, I'm not hearing other mentors, but I'm reading a lot. I'm taking 3-4 elements that I want to implement in like a data point Andrey said, and then I took that in my business or my things. I tested if it's good or not.
Yeah, I mean, I call it educable. I don't like coachable. As a word.
Let's say the investors are kind of coaches / mentors for their founders. Is typical or is not necessary?
That's what is called smart money. But now everybody offers smart money. You won't find an investor who offers dumb money.
So you mean the venture capital world?
Everybody sells. We are smart.
The guys that they offer money, they left.
But smart money concept implies that you invest and you bring more to the table than just funds. It's mostly networking opportunities of a different kind. Other investors, contacts in the industry, regulators, whatever is necessary and important for the company.
Do you believe, let's say, in this kind of investors are more important than the co-founders?
Nothing is more important than a co-founder. It's a little like a space
but you
trip
said before,
to Mars.
You're not going to invest on you're going to invest on jobs, for example.
Yes, but
I'm just giving
it depends on the setting, because if you're a solo founder, then VCs kind of maybe, in a sense, closer to a co-founder concept than in case you are a founder.
Understand.
Team.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but VCs, they come and go, and co-founders are here with you to stay. And that's a difference. Like with founders, you build it, VCs invest to extract revenue. And they want to help you, of course. They will help you, they will provide you contacts, this and that, but motivation is different.
Okay, I'm going to tell a personal story of the last 2 days. We were 3 people in the same table. The one has a startup in Cyprus that is scalable. He wants to move it in other countries. The other one is a consultant that help people to grow their business. And it was me that I'm an entrepreneur, not necessary for startups, that I know the way, I can do it by myself. And the only thing I need is time to grow it. And some money if it's possible, but it's okay. I will find the money. It's not a problem. And we had a conversation about if a businessman has to be emotional or he has to detach the emotion out of the business. For me, it was very, very, very easy. I'm an emotional guy. I'm attached to people. And this is what I am. I'm not going to change now in 45. And I'm doing business with emotion as well. Not only necessary, only emotion, but I cannot detach emotion. What do you believe from your experience? It's necessary to detach the emotion, or sometimes it's okay to have the emotion as well?
There's no yes or no answer to that. And if you try to do business strictly on kind of logical financial grounds, that's, I think, kind of theoretically possible, but practically not. Because even if you look at Donald Trump, he has a lot of emotions, even in his dealings, though everybody sees him as a profit taker. But consider, he has a lot of emotions on the table and he takes decisions highly influenced by emotions. I don't think there is a person who is not influenced by emotions in his dealings. But we are all quite different, and if you do some kind of psychological assessment, like Myers-Briggs, for example, which I'm also a practitioner of. There are like 16 basic types of people, and we 16, yes, and we perceive very differently, like how we get energy. So like extrovert, introvert, and their language is different.
But I don't like Panis, for example. I despise him. All right, can I do business with him? I don't like him, and in a term, I have to delete all my emotion and say, okay, because of the benefit of the business, I have to go and do.
Depends on actually why.
Everybody loves Panis.
No, that's one. But if you had kind of a bad experience before, most probably it's not wise to give it a second chance. Second thing, if you just dislike a person, there is a reason to that, which comes from like a cognitive science, and now explains it quite well. As we all know, we have like 3 brains, like reptilian, the other one I don't remember, and finally, the prefrontal cortex, the famous one which makes us humans. But this fight or flight reaction is a reptilian brain, and it's subconscious. You just see something in the person you don't like. It can be not a problem of the person. Maybe he reminds you of your bully in school. So you need to process that with your prefrontal cortex. But if there's something wrong, then your mind tries to tell something. There's a danger. You can kind of override it with your prefrontal cortex, again, at your own risk. So I would say that if you're really kind of uncomfortable doing that, don't do that. But speaking about, again, business decisions, you should listen to both parts of your brain. Like, does it make you comfortable or does it not? Because I was at a research conference the previous year, and there was a guy who was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award or something, like a very established scientific guy, professor of many things. And people ask him, like, how do you kind of use your time? And he said, okay, I came to a point when I decided, okay, I do what I have to for like 25% of my time and do what I enjoy doing 75%. Like, that's a healthy balance. And that's part of the same story. Like, there are things you have to do with people you don't like, but it will be transactional.
Yep.
And it's very difficult to build a partnership or long-term engagement with people you dislike. It's kind of, you will force yourself to do that, and most probably nothing will come out of it if you go with that with good intentions, if you act in goodwill. I'm not speaking about acting in bad will and tolerating people to do something against them.
Finish the story I started. Both of them, after 2 days, back and forward, they sent me a message, or they called me, or I called them, and he said, now I get your point, and I agree with you. You cannot detach the emotion.
No.
And that's my story, and this is my message to this episode, that it's okay to have your emotion. You can train them not to be on the maximum, and control the volume, let's say, but the emotion is going to be there.
Okay, let's see. If the trend now is, of course, building a company with AI agents
Okay.
and a few employees, you will keep the emotions with a few employees.
But we have have the discussion about, okay, I have to fire somebody. I have to be not emotional and let him go. But okay, you spend like 5 years with this guy. How are you not be emotional?
Again, depends if he a good leaver, bad leaver. If he's a good leaver, you have to let the guy go. You don't have to be like rude or like don't stop being friends. You can do it in a normal way, saying like, it's not about you, not about me. It's about reality we have. I'm sorry about that generally, but what can I do? But speaking of emotions, just again, you put me into an interesting position, and I am now kind of recalling my academic research, how mentoring works actually. It's famously unpaid, but takes a lot of time and effort, like contrary to coaching, by the way. And one of my French interviewees joked that like in French, mentoring stands for giving advice for free.
Right.
But this is long-term iterative process which you are engaged in without obvious payment, like for remuneration for that. And it was an interesting question. I started to look into that, so ended up with social exchange theory. And the payment, effective payment for mentors, is emotional Well, it's paid in emotion. You are directly paid with oxytocin. You know, if you have a trusted, good relationship with your mentee, then you are rewarded immediately with your brain releasing oxytocin to you.
Dopamine.
If it's not trusted, if it's wrong, it's cortisol. You're fined. You're not paid. So yes, emotions can be very rewarding, and it's a part of the process.
Let's go back to you. What's the 2 or 3 red flags you're gonna see in a pitch and you're gonna say no, this is not for me?
That's exactly probably 3 main ones when we speak about early stage startups. First one, if the team is not relevant or lacks significant capabilities to deliver what they want and don't have a plan to address it. And so they mean they don't see it, right? That they can deliver. So that's one flag, irrelevance of the team. Second one would be probably absence of proper competitive analysis, which is predictive competitive analysis. You know, they all come, not all, but most of them come with what they call positioning maps, where like
I'm not relevant with this. Can you explain it?
Yes, where they kind of line up some competitors.
Okay, competitive analysis.
Key feature of their products, and then the competitors are all like red cross, and they're all like green check boxes.
All right.
So like we are much better than everybody else. My question.
But you have to be in all the aspects, or at least in one.
No, that's what they normally do. Yes, some of them do what we do, but we do everything and we do better. And question is like, guys, like you are early stage startup, so this is what you plan to build, right? They say, oh yes. So you don't have it now. No. And they have what they have. They say yes. And when will we have this? Okay, in like a year and 2 years. Okay, and those guys will just sit idle and wait for you to build it, right? So they don't get the same signals from the market. They're stupid, lazy. And that's a conversation we are having. If they have a predictive analysis telling, okay, this is the situation today, market is moving in this direction, we see like how it moves, how it grows, and this is why we will be relevant with our product in 2 years, and that's how it will be developing. That's of course not a certainty, that's forecast, but that kind of the same growth mindset and the same understanding.
Let's just simplify it. You want from the founders to have a plan B, plan C, plan...
Not exactly. I want them to understand that competition that they have is dynamic and evolving
steady,
and not fixed.
Yeah, understand.
That's what they need to demonstrate, how they address and what they foresee for the competition to move. And third one is go-to-market strategy. I need them to understand very well who will buy that, why they will buy that, how much of that, how they will approach those people. If they don't understand that, that's why we don't do B2C, like business to customer, almost never. We do business to business, because when you speak with B2C entrepreneurs, they kind of say, okay, we'll do like a Facebook ads, Instagram ads, whatever, influencers.
But this is promotion. What you describe me is exactly what we're saying, strategic marketing, all of them. So you are asking from the founders have this diagram about market research, market analysis, and so on to go to the end until the valuation, let's say, and back again.
No, I ask them to have an understanding of how that works and what they actually want to do. I don't want to kind of invest my money in their education and basic things.
How do you evaluate potential if it's an early stage startup and you don't have numbers, or you don't do it at all?
I normally ask them to think about the exit strategy. There are 2 schools of thought about that. Some investors say they should not care, they should just build fast. I still believe that they need to think about it, like who will be the ultimate buyer? And just don't give me an answer that I will do IPO. Okay, IPO is on the cards for everybody. Like, tell me something more specific. Who can buy you? And second thing is kind of reverse engineered, because if you speak with VCs, they will tell you more or less the following story. most of those funds are not evergreen. Most of those funds are time limited. Typical time limit is 10 years. So you have 4 years to invest, 4 years to divest, 2 years to adjust for market trends, this and that, can have some extensions. So this is the time limit for VCs to operate. And normally you invest in you not on the first day, right? So it becomes slightly shorter. Then they invest not their own money. It's a fund. They invest other people's money. So they need to give them good return. To give them good return, they need to invest in companies which can become, today they should be kind of $1 billion company. Each of them have this potential. So some of them become multi-billion dollar and then they sell it and they can give money back. To be $1 billion company, you have to have annual recurring revenues of about 100 million. That's we speak about big VCs now, right? We need to come to this point. So if you want to play this game, you have to be able to, at some point in time in the future, like 4, 5, 6, whatever, better 2 or 3 years, which is hardly possible, to be at that point with this number of revenues, because the multiple will be 8 to 12. So like 100 million in revenues equals $1 billion company. And this reverse engineering, when you apply this reverse engineering, you can take a look at this model and you can guess quite nicely if it has this potential at all or has not.
Let's say that everybody's grow and everybody learn more every day, and let's say you are the same as the typical people in this table. Did it happen a good storyteller to come to present an idea, even their numbers didn't add up, and invest on that idea?
Terranos.
FTX.
It's all about storytelling. There's almost no substance.
So it happens, yeah. It was a terrible idea. Just the storyteller was...
Terranos, it was a biotech, just to put some context.
That's a difference between idea, and executable kind of product or whatever. Probably it's a good idea to fly to Mars, right? So they approach you and say, okay, we want to fly to Mars. You say, like it. So how do we do that? I don't know. We'll figure it out. There's just one guy on this planet who can attract investors with this kind of pitch, right? Because he demonstrated many times that he can. Otherwise, you need to see a viable way. It should be ambitious, of course, but viable.
You said Marcel became the joke about a specific actor that is left behind. His Matt Damon. He's always left behind in Mars, in the war, in everywhere, in the black hole.
For him, idea probably was not so good, but... So in case of Terranos, it was like that. Let's do all the tests with 1 drop of blood. Sounds great. How we do it? No idea. And then it unfolded the way it unfolded.
Is the traction enough for the investor to tempt them to invest in startups?
Traction is kind of a result of many things.
First of all, let's
define
what traction is.
What I really find, because I was not familiar as well with traction.
No, you are familiar. You know it with another word. Traction is a word that the startup scene uses.
This is what I want to explain to the audience.
Traction is when you
have very fast results that proves that this is scalable.
Yeah. I mean, traction is when, for example, if you have clients, you have every day 2 or 3 clients. You book every day.
Yeah, but it's a progression.
It's a progression. Yeah, it's a progression of some KPIs you put as a company, as a startup. Maybe the KPIs is users in your app. Maybe it is clients. Whatever KPIs you put.
Normally, finally resulting in revenue, because now people started to think about its business should earn money. So even subscribers grows, results in revenue grows. And so it's rapid increase in revenues at the end of the day.
Is that traction, this progression, tempting investors to invest in a startup?
It's a good signal to dig deeper. Okay. Because you need to see how kind of sustainable this is. And there's another joke about that, when 2 friends meet and one asks another, how are you doing it? Okay, I'm running, I don't have time, like everything's fine. And what are you doing? I'm selling dollars for 99 cents. And how is it going? You know, I don't have time to calculate profit loss, but cash flow is great. And in many startups, you know, it can be exactly like that.
Right. Another good analogy.
And there is another term important, I think, for investors is the churn, the retention. That's the ratio, actually, how many clients, how long you keep them.
Okay.
Or if they're coming back as a new clients, or that's another, I think, important thing another very important signal for investors. Because you might be getting clients, you might find you're a very good marketeer, but then maybe your product does not hold them in the business. So
the retention as well. So
that's this famous ratio between long-term lifetime value and customer acquisition cost.
Let's go specific to Alchemy. Why Alchemy, first of all? Do you like Paolo Coelho?
No, I had initially a friend. We started this business with him. Now I am the solo founder.
And there is also an extra A at the end.
His name is Alexei and I'm Andrey. That's how it happened, yes. I liked his idea of the name of Alchemy because he explained it in the way that it's very, like, not a very scientific thing what we're trying. We kind of transfer, like, this plum boom to gold.
Yeah, nice. It's exactly
something between magic and
So it's kind of more art than a science. So I kind of heard the message. I go, good idea, let's do it.
It's a common friend of us, Savas, which is on AIs. He's saying that the people that they are working with AI, there's some kind of alchemists as well.
Yeah, true.
So let's go specific to Alchemy. What's the process for someone to come to you and pitch his idea in order to get some funds? Explain us.
Yeah. First of all, we don't have a cold funnel. We don't open the funnel for everybody. We almost always work with startups that we either identify through our partner networks, other business angels, accelerators, incubators, universities, or we find them themselves on some events or wherever. I spent quite a lot of time to establish this type of a funnel to reduce noise in what I'm getting. Because if you see how many VCs operate, they have kind of open application process. They get hundreds of applications a week. They have to put some junior people on the validation, and that's another problem. Because whom you allow into the funnel is one of the main and most important decisions. So effectively, a senior person should review the entry to the funnel, not a junior one.
Yeah.
And it's impossible if you do it in a cold funnel manner.
It's a ratio of time and effort. But do you feel that you are missing out of not having this process?
I can't see and process everything anyway. That's technically impossible. Maybe someday with AI, we don't need angels or VCs any longer. One AI will be pitching to the other. Who knows? But today we have enough opportunities to be happy about that.
What's the common mistakes that somebody is doing when he is approaching your team?
No, that became fashionable to kind of research you with AI and write you a message with AI.
This is
starting with something. We know that you read and you see that it's not about you. So you tried, but you failed. And you see that, if you do your research this way, then probably your startup idea looks the same.
So my AI research was not good today?
No, your research is fine. I mean, that's an approach. People think of AI not of it as a tool, a very useful tool, a potent tool, but as something of its own volition, so they don't check the outcome.
Let's say compare to Dragon's Den that we know from UK. What's the difference in a pitch that they're going to come in front of you? Let's set us the setup first of all. Tell us about the setup. You have a table with...
No,
How is the process?
Again, when we initially speak with people, we can do it in different settings. We can catch up at a conference, we can have a video call. And more it happens online. Then they just, if we invite them, they apply to the software which we use. It's Dilum, by the way, very good software. The Estonian company, they build it, and we really love it, how it operates. And then we kind of analyze it. It goes through the stages until we are content enough to put them to the pitch stage when they can speak with the investors in the network. And finally, we open the round for them, collect commitments, transfer money, end of story.
Do a startup has a chance if it has an idea and not a network, or is it important for you?
Network of clients, I mean?
Yeah, even clients, even if it depends on what they are doing.
No, they need, again, startup founder. It's normally something as following. It's either a researcher from university, if it's a deep tech company, or a student or graduated student, or somebody from the corporate world. So you can expect some knowledge and networking only from guys from the corporate. Had to expect that from people in science, or especially students. They didn't have time to develop it. I just need them to validate and understand how to validate that their product is needed.
I understand, but usually in business you say our network is our net worth. You don't care about it, eh?
It's, we go back to smart money. That's us, what we can help them with. Networking is a very big part of what investors bring. We put them in touch with stakeholders they would not be able to get in touch with.
Okay, let's talk about real money now. What's the starting point you are giving in a startup, and what's the maximum you have ever given to someone? Or is you have some startups that you invest and reinvent in order to grow?
We can follow up in certain cases, but again, that's what they call like bet on winners. Don't bet on losers. That's also a common mistake, by the way, when you think that you will give some more money, they will fix it. Normally it doesn't happen.
Okay, so, usually, but there are exceptions.
There is no such thing in probabilities. There's 0 probability and 100% probability, right?
You see, but anyway, the probabilities is 10%. So if the probabilities of reinvesting is again 10%,
no,
it's very similar to this.
It's already no, because they demonstrated how they grow, how they operate, what they do, and it's the risk in your investment partially. So you reinvest only in those who demonstrated their abilities.
All right, understand.
It would be the same, as you say, 10% if you just take a bunch of money and divide it equally to everybody in the pool. And no, that's not how you do it.
Just doing logical questions.
No, for sure.
So about the money, you didn't tell us. What's the limits?
It's very different geographically, stage-wise, industry-wise.
The maximum.
Yeah. It's again, minimum could be as small as 10.
All right.
Like 10,000. Maximum, what we do is several 100,000, like 300,000 to 500,000, I think.
All right. It makes more sense now. Now that I want to come to you and pitch my idea. Andrey, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you here.
It was my pleasure and honor to be invited. Thank you.
It's very difficult to have even one aha moment in one podcast. In this podcast, I have the impression that I have like 3 or 4 aha moments for me, and it's amazing. This is the pure reason I'm doing podcasts. And thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Panis, for bringing Andrey.
Thank you for
and yourself, the network king of Cyprus. There is an expression that Panis, there is nobody that doesn't know Panis in Cyprus.
True. I can attest to that.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you for the invitation. It was a real pleasure.